Hi, welcome in Vermilion Community College, a short presentation that we're giving a little bit about what it's like to go to school here, a little bit about what programs we offer, and a lot about making sure that you're picking a college that is a good choice for you. My name's Tommy Bennett. I'm the recruiting coordinator at Vermilion Community College. I just wanted to welcome you and say thank you for taking the time and taking a little bit to learn a little bit more about us and learn about what Vermilion College has to offer. Now, with that being said, I am going to share a screen a little bit here with you, and we're going to take you through a presentation just to give you a little bit more familiarity and so you can see a couple of things about our campus and college as well. So now with that, I'm just sharing a screen that talks a little bit about Vermilion, a little bit about what we like you to know on campus. If you're not familiar with Vermilion College, we are part of the Minnesota state system. So the Minnesota state system is 32 campuses. They're all connected, share services, share a few different things about them. Even that being said, we are each are very much so our individual colleges and individual campus, and a little bit different than really being united as one. But being part of that 32 college system does mean that we are able to offer a lot of resources, a lot of transfer agreements, and a lot of other things that'll help you out as you go through this college process. Vermilion is a very unique spot to go to school. One of the things that you're going to hear me refer to a lot as we talk about this is just the fact that when you're at Vermilion, when you're on this campus, you are going to see a lot of uniqueness come out in where we're located, what we offer, the type of programs that we have. So that'll be a kind of a theme as we talk through it. And that's some of these quick facts I put up on your screen right now. We are one of only, it says 7, but as of very recently now, it's 6 federally accredited law enforcement academies. There's very, very few colleges that have North American Association of Wildlife Technician. There's even fewer that do Sawyer skills. So all of these things, we could talk about it a lot. Most of them are pretty unique to their program, but it's one of those things that just highlights, like I said, as we go through, we're going to talk a lot about the uniqueness. With that, I was just going to stop and say, hey, if you have any questions as we go through this presentation, you're welcome to ask me. You're welcome to use the raise hand feature on here. Otherwise, at the bottom of your screen there's a Q&A. You're welcome to click that as well. That Q&A will get you questions directly to me. But like I said, feel free to use the raise hand feature, anything that you want that works for you as we go through this presentation, and we'll make sure that we get your questions answered. Now, as we go further on to this presentation, we're going to talk about 3 kind of big areas. And I always break us up into those 3 areas because I think it's really helpful to kind of look at that and get a feel for it. Those 3 areas are going to be learn, live, and love. All right. We first talked about learning because you got to find a campus that's right for you, a campus that you feel is a really good fit. We talked about living on campus because ultimately that's going to be what makes the biggest difference as far as where you go and how you're choosing to live in an area that you really like living. But the last thing is going to be the most important to me. And that's talking about loving where you're choosing to be. You're going to hear as I go through this, I'm never going to sell you on the campus. I'm never going to tell you this is the one place you have to be. This is the only place that you have to be. What I am going to tell you is I'm going to tell you, you got to find that place that feels like a good fit. And that's why we talk so much about the student life, the learning, the other aspects of this is because I want you to be very comfortable with picking a campus and a college that's right for you. So we start off talking about that learning piece. Now you're going to be choosing a college based on it having the programs and the things that you want at that campus. So for us at Vermilion, we break it up into 6 big categories. That's what we're going to go through right now. You see liberal arts on your screen. We're going to talk about those 6 big categories in a real quick way, just to give you a little bit of a feel for what we offer and what we have here. The very first category is liberal arts. Liberal arts is a really neat thing to have on campus. It means that all of our programs are founded in a liberal arts base. So you're going to take at least 1 English and 1 math class when you're going through with us. But the other reason that liberal arts is kind of cool is you can do anything with it. You know, one of the last things that you see on there is pre-professional studies. Pre-professional studies, you could go into, the real professional programs like pre-law, pre-medicine. But even if you just said, hey, you know what, I'm looking to get a 4-year teaching degree. I'm looking to go into psychology. I want some of these bachelor's levels degrees. Cool. You can get your start with us. And what better place to go than up in Ely? I mean, you get far enough away from home that you're on your own, but at the same time, you're going to have a lot of those experiences that you wouldn't anywhere else. And you can start any degree anywhere else while you're living in a pretty cool little area. The next slide up here is talking about our business and management program. We do offer a full business management program at our school. So it's a 2-year associate science in business. We are one of the very few colleges that does still offer entrepreneurship as a focus area. Our third category is our veterinary science. Now, currently under veterinary science, there's only one program. It's our veterinary technician program. There are very few campuses nationwide that really focus on veterinary technology, or veterinary technician, I should say. We are one of those campuses. It's one of our newest programs to campus. It's been around for about 5 years now. Gives you a really neat area. And I'd see this as one area that's going to be growing as well on our campus. Our fourth area is probably our biggest one right now, and that's natural resource management and water management. Everything under this category, all the programs share one common thread. That common thread is that they're going to be dealing with the resource specifically. So if you're thinking like, oh, I want to work in forestry, I'm really interested in water, those are the type of things you're going to be dealing with, is really that hands-on in the natural resource itself versus working with other things while you're outdoors. So if you're kind of thinking, yeah, I'm more interested in the hands-on, I'm more interested in really learning about a resource and focusing on a resource, this is where you're going to find those programs. The fifth program area that we have is outdoor recreation and wilderness. Now, everything under this category shares a common thread as well, but this category shares that you're going to be working with people in an outdoor setting. So outdoor leadership, you want to get into outdoor education, you want to get into outdoor therapy, you want to work in the park systems, park management, recreation systems, recreation management. This is the category that you're going to find that. So it's important to always think like, hey, I love being outdoors, I want to be outdoors, but I want to work with people in that outdoor setting. And the last category that we have up here is law enforcement and emergency services. Now, I really could have titled this something like wildland law enforcement, wildlife law enforcement. Obviously, we have a program under there that is titled that. We title it general law enforcement emergency services because, hey, you can work on an ambulance crew after you finish one of these programs. You can work in general law enforcement, so a police officer, sheriff, highway patrol, probation officer, anything like that. So it is very much so general in that sense as well. However, most of our students that are coming up here are considering doing something with like conservation officer, sheriff, rural sheriff. They want to work in search and rescue, some of those wilderness EMS programs, things that are going to put you really working out in the field potentially, but having more of a scope of the wilderness and the aspect side of it. With that, I'll take a quick pause. Do you want to have any questions? I'll just take a look. See if we have any hands up, anything like that right now. Looks like we do not. So we'll just kind of keep moving on. Like I said, we talk about learning first because one of the big things I want you to take out of this is knowing what you can learn on campus, make sure that we have some program areas that fit for you, because ultimately that is what you're choosing campus on. However, that is a very small part of why people choose colleges. In my opinion, and I think working with students, the bigger reason that you're going to choose a campus is because you're going to find a spot that just feels like a fit. Regardless of the programs, yeah, it has to have your program, but you're going to find that college that feels like a fit outside of that. So the next area that we go on to is living and what it's like to live on campus. Now, the first thing that I always start talking about here is you're in Ely, and you're in Ely, Minnesota. If you haven't been up to Ely, Minnesota before, we are far northeastern Minnesota. Basically, we're about as far north, as far east in the state as you can go, right up in the Arrowhead. The reason that's important is because even if you have been to Ely, but you've only visited during the summer, you're going to see a very different Ely in the winter. It's a small town. A lot of the town shuts down because the tourist industry isn't around as much in the wintertime. So we have half the restaurants that you'd normally see. We have half the businesses that you'd normally see. I'm telling you this at the start because there's two things I want you to know about Ely. The first is that I want you to realize that you're going to have whatever you need up here. The grocery stores are open. The bait shops are open. The hardware stores, all the basic necessities are open here. But the second bigger thing that I want you to realize is the town itself is not going to be a focal point of student life when you're on campus here. Your student life is really going to revolve around the two other things that Ely has to offer. And that's the fact that we're located on the edge of the Boundary Waters in the Superior National Forest, basically out in the middle of the woods. So student life out here is outdoor lifestyle and on-campus lifestyle. For outdoor lifestyle, our students hunt, fish, hike, camp, four-wheel, snowmobile. They have fish houses up here all winter. You see snowshoeing is big in the wintertime. Our students are outdoors, and that's a big part of their lifestyle when they come up here. And that's a big part of why they choose campus. But then you also have the on-campus lifestyle. So we are a residential campus. Most of our students do live on campus. The picture that you're seeing right now is Timber Ridge. Timber Ridge is our newest housing on campus. All of our campus housing is apartment style, which means that you do have full kitchens, living rooms, private bathrooms, all of that in each of the units. So you are going to have that apartment style when you're on campus. That also means that we have a full food service. We do serve food on campus, 3 meals a day, Monday through Friday. The weekends, that's a big part of the reason that we offer apartment style housing. Students cook for themselves on the weekends. Because so many of our students are into the outdoors, they spend their free time on the weekends outdoors. It makes it a lot easier for them when they have that at home and that they can do that right in their own dorm rooms or in their own apartments. But now the bigger part of that having on-campus life is it's really neat that you can have on-campus life here and that you can live here and you have a place to stay. But it's even more important to come through and say, oh, all right, what does that mean for my student life? What is that going to make of this? So for a student life side of it, you're going to see this short list I put together here. But really what we talk about is you have athletics. If you're into varsity sports, I do 3 men's, 3 women's, 1 co-ed. So the men's are football, baseball, basketball. Women's are basketball, volleyball, and fast pitch. And then co-ed, we have a trap league. So if you're thinking about playing even college level sports, it's varsity level, it's Minnesota MCAC, so it's Minnesota Athletic Conference there. You have an opportunity, and we do have solid teams. We've had a national championship football team, top 10 in the nation in basketball fairly consistently. You're just going to see students all the time playing sports and see them play a high level of sports. We also do a lot of intramural sports. We run about 12 different intramurals a year. If you're not familiar with intramurals, you're just basically playing other teams on campus, and it is a smaller groups on campus that are playing, and they're just for fun. You're going to see stuff like our big one on campus right now is dodgeball, but we also have stuff like co-ed volleyball, there's co-ed basketball, there's flag football, there's all of these other events that are going on that you can participate in and definitely be a big part of. So that's kind of a cool way of doing it too. We also have a lot of clubs on campus. Neat part about clubs is you guys run them. I can't even tell you for sure which clubs are going to be here from year to year for the simple fact that you guys are choosing them. You guys are picking which ones you're going to do and really getting a lot of the clubs up and available. The other side of that, though, is we also have a lot of clubs that are tied in with the programs, which are going to get you volunteer work and experience work for your resume. You'll notice a lot of the stuff that I've talked about right now doesn't even make the top student life list. You're going to see things like pizza and pop study nights, movie nights, board games nights, just students doing stuff all the time. That is the big difference about a residential college. But the last part of this whole presentation, like I said at the beginning, I find the most important is making sure you're finding a college and a location that you really love being at. So for our students, they're picking Vermilion because this is where they want to be. This is where they love being, or even if they just found out about, they love the idea and the concept of being here. It's outdoors. It's student life. It's wanting to work in the outdoors and be part of that as much as it is just playing in the outdoors for many of our students in our programs. So that being said, I asked a group of our students that were coming on campus, said, hey, what do you think? What do you really love about being up here? And, there was a lot of answers about the college itself. Students talked about, I love the small class sizes. I love the fact that my faculty all know me. That's very important. I said, well, what do you love about kind of the area as well? So with the area, we got this list that you see before you right now on here, talking about boating, fishing, hiking, camping, four-wheeling, golfing, bowling. It's a lot of this outdoor stuff. The festivals are in town, the different events that happen in town. So they love campus, but they also really enjoy the lifestyle that's afforded to them through the Boundary Waters, through Vermilion, through this area. So that being said, I really appreciate that you're watching this, kind of going through this and taking a little look at it. But I wanted to do a little housekeeping at the end here and just talk to you about what the timeline looks like. So if you're interested in Vermilion, if this is something you're like, yeah, you know what, I do kind of like it. I like the thought. We're going to talk about the senior timeline, and ultimately juniors, if you're watching this, realize that it's the exact same timeline, just put a year out from now. All right. So when we talk about the senior timeline, there's a huge part missing up here, okay? And that huge part that's missing is I want you all to visit the campus. I want you to come up here. I want you to get accustomed to it. And I want you to see if it's a good feel for you. So that should be step one about all this. For the senior timeline, make sure that you're coming up here and getting a chance to visit. Now, we have an open house in October. October is free application month, so feel free to fill out your application in October. But we also do have open houses up here. So if you want to come up, you want to take a look at campus, see what we have for you. That I think is always the most important step one of it. You can sign up on our website at vcc.edu. Anytime that you want, you'll go on there. You can request information from us. You can sign up for these tours. You can sign up for the open houses. Get on that and start right there. Once you've done that, though, your next thing that you do is go in and fill out an application. All right, like I said, this month is free application month, so feel free anytime. There we go, we got it out to come in and actually fill out that application. Now, when you fill out the application, there's a $20 application fee if it's outside of the month of October, but like I said, it's free right now. After you're done filling out your application, I want you to get in, stop in, see your counselor. If you graduated all right, call up your counselor and say, hey, I need either a final high school transcript if you've already graduated or an in-progress high school transcript that's showing the classes that you're taking right now. Once we get those two things, we really are going to accept you. You're going to get in. The cool part about that is it's an early process and it's a quick process and it's a very easy process. Okay. Now, our priority deadline on these applications is December 1st. You can apply anytime. I'm going to still accept anytime, but really that priority deadline is important because if you want to be first in line for housing, you want to be first in line for financial aid, scholarships, all this other stuff that goes on, you're going to need to have that application in by December 1st. So that's just kind of a quick little review for you if you're looking at timelines for it. So after you get that application in, next things that you're going to come up on are your housing application. That's released in the month of December. You fill out your FAFSA anytime. That's going to be online. It's actually opened up October 1st, so it's open right now. But you can fill that all your time. Make sure that you're adding Vermilion into that FAFSA. So let us be a part of that. Then foundation scholarships. That's kind of the next step after your application. Foundation scholarships happen in February and only the month of February. So that's when you can apply for them. We gave out over $100,000 last year. So we give a ton of money out to different students and help make that college a little bit more affordable too. And then the last thing you're going to do is sign up for an orientation registration session. Those happen in March and April. We foresee us going forward with those next year. Currently, we're doing it all online. I think next year we should probably be back to a lot of in-person events as well. So if you're just kind of thinking about that, start planning it. You'll probably be back up on campus in March or April to actually sign up for your classes, get your student ID, go through orientation, get a feel for everything that's going to happen to you that following fall. Okay. That being said, this is a ton of information. What I want you to do, grab your cell phones, pick them up, click, take a picture of it, get in your memory. You'll start remembering some of this stuff. You always have a quick reference where to go back and be able to just see what we're expecting, what timeline we're expecting with it. So that's a great start. Grab those phones, take a click of the picture. You're also able to watch this recording after we're done with it. That's a good thing to be able to do. However, if you forget all this, phone's not working, battery's dead, whatever, the only thing I want you to remember is get that application before December 1st. The reason I want you to remember that is all of the rest of this, everything else that's on your screen right now, you're going to get reminders, you're going to get stuff in the mail, you're going to see the rest of it, okay? So with that being said, one of the big things I want you to remember, so you just heard me talk about it, you've seen our little presentation there, but the one thing that I want you to really take out of this is get an application in when you're ready, when you feel like you've selected those colleges or you feel like it could be a good fit. And the other thing that I always want you to remember is open your mail, all right? A lot of this stuff that we're talking about, a lot of what we're doing right now is still going to come through to you in the kind of the old-fashioned mail system. So when you get something that says Vermilion on it, get excited, get into it, open it up, and that's going to be a really good start and provide you a lot of this information that we covered. You don't have to have a steel trap mind, just get on there, you're going to be set and good to go, okay? With that, it doesn't look like I got any questions coming up here. It looks like you guys are all set. Must know it, but I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to ask me any questions that you want. Anything that's going to go on, and then from there we'll kind of get you set up, and we'll make sure that if anything comes up in the future, you're always welcome to contact me. Easiest way for any of that though is on vcc.edu, and we'll kind of go from there. Oh, looks like we do have one question. One of the questions that did come in. Looks like just got emailed to me. They're asking, what is the cost? So the cost, easy way to say it is if you're looking at just tuition costs, you're just saying, oh, okay, what does the physical cost that for a year? You're going to be about $5,500. Students are considered out-of-state residents. You're going to be about $6,300, right in that. I give you a really vague estimates because I want you to know the bigger picture of it. But the more important number for me is I look at what is the yearly cost for everything. And that includes your housing, your books, your tuition, kind of top to bottom. What are you going to be paying here? It's going to be anywhere between about 13,000 to 13,600, depending on if you're a resident, non-resident, how many credits you're taking. But that's kind of the bigger picture of it. So I can tell students, plan for 13.5. It's probably going to be less, but that's going to be your full package covering everything that we have here. Dad, do you got anything else coming up? Well, it looks like our question's done. So I'm going to start wrapping this up and calling it close. If you have anything, though, feel free to reach out anytime. The easiest way to get a hold of us, just vcc.edu. Just keep that in, vcc.edu. It'll get you to our website. It'll get you to my contact. It'll get you to our admissions contact. Anything that you need to know about us is going to be right there, and it's probably easiest. You're welcome to call us too anytime. Our numbers on all of this, on everything that you're at with College Fair right now, it's going to have the additional contact information. But like I said, website, quick, easy. It's got everything else that you're going to need from us. With that, I'm just going to say, hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for coming in. Check out Vermilion, learning a little bit more about us. If you need anything else, get a hold of us. All right. Have a great day. Have a great College Fair.